In a sense, it's like dance. You can explain the rudiments of dance, but to really learn how to dance, you have to dance.
The post-production industry is changing. With things becoming cheaper and more accessible, what sort of effect will that have?
I'm Tim Fielding, I'm a freelance offline editor and I absolutely love my job. I've worked in post-production for just over 10 years and it's changed a hell of a lot. When I first started, we were using tapes for everything. The sort of transition from SD to HD was a huge one for everyone in the post-production industry. It involved a lot of investment in kit. Basically everything had to be bought again. I think that there has been a move for a lot of production companies, especially in telly and especially in a lot of short form things, to move post-production in-house. And whether that's a good thing or not, it's definitely a cheaper thing. But I think that there will always be a place for post-production houses for bigger projects and for features. When you're working on a giant project with lots and lots of shared media, huge projects, loads of bins, you need the right infrastructure to make that happen and to make it work correctly. So people cutting corners and taking things in-house isn't necessarily a good thing, and you can get yourself in quite a lot of trouble and not hitting deadlines because the kit that you've got isn't necessarily up to the workload that you've got.
I reached out to Blackmagic Design, creators of DaVinci Resolve and many other pieces of hardware and software. They basically told me that the reason they make their software free is that by getting users to start out with their stuff, it will eventually lead to some of them buying the full versions. This seems to be more of a long-term investment for them, but it's also a major win for the consumers as they are now challenging the competition to do the same.
Yeah, I think that free and cheap software has, without a doubt, given a lot more people the opportunity to edit really good things at home. And you know, it's a world that was completely closed to a lot of people because edit suites cost thousands and thousands of pounds. And I think it can only be a good thing that it's getting young people and old people interested in the world of editing. And when I was first starting to get into the industry, an old editor told me that editing is all about air miles, and it's about how long you sit in front of an edit suite, and the longer you sit in front of an edit suite, the better you get, which is without doubt true. And you know, editors who are 50 and 60 years old are still learning from the people that they are working with and the footage that they are working with. So I definitely think that it's a great thing that you know, people can now get their hands on decent edit software very cheaply or free.
These days you can get a pretty powerful system for cheaper than a PlayStation. And if you have a bit more money, you can get some seriously powerful gear. DaVinci Resolve 12 is currently free. It's a full editing program with some of the best colour grading tools built in on the market. And for just £230 you can get Apple's full Final Cut Pro 10. If you're using a PC or just prefer the Adobe suite, you can get that for quite cheap as well, especially if you're a student.
I certainly think for smaller projects, for things like, you know, branded content, online videos, short form adverts and stuff like that, it's now so much easier than it was 5 years ago and certainly 10 years ago to be producing really high-end stuff at home with not a lot other than just a digital SLR and a copy of Premiere or After Effects. And for a lot of projects that works totally fine, and there's no need to be at a post house spending an awful lot of money for the sake of having a fancy edit suite with free tea and coffee. But there are bigger projects which I think do require someone on hand to be digitising your rushes, an engineer for when things go nuts up and you're really up against it. You know, I think that the post houses do still have their place, but it's definitely easier for people to be producing decent stuff at home as well.
Overall, it's not about what you use, it's about how you use it. But do I think that free tools and cheaper hardware is going to help uncover some amazingly talented storytellers? Absolutely. And that's what it's all about.
Free tea and coffee and biscuits and runners at your every beck and call is also a massive advantage.